Welcome back. And today we are going to do a Szechuan stir-fry dish called MaPo Tofu. And this was named after a pockmarked grandmother who actually made this dish for a traveling salesman. And the salesman liked this dish so much that he spread the word all around, and it became known as pockmarked grandmother's tofu, or MaPo Tofu. So we're going to start off by heating up a couple tablespoons of oil in my cast iron wok. There we go. And we'll let that heat up. And while that's heating up, we're going to prepare our aromatics. And so we'll have some garlic. We'll just peel that right off. And we have some ginger. I'll just cut that dry piece off there. And we'll put in about a tablespoon of ginger. I just want to note that this ginger, you can plant it, and these little knobs will grow into ginger plants. And if you plant that just below the soil in a pot in Maine, because it gets cold in Maine, you have to bring it in, this will grow a ginger plant, and you'll be able to have fresh ginger root year round. But it's also very available in our grocery stores. So what I've done is I've cut this so that the grain's really short, so that when I hit it with the side of my blade, it basically just pulverizes it. So we'll do that. Here we go. And we'll do the same for our ginger. We'll just hit it.
Garlic.
And slide our garlic. Thank you. There we go. And then we'll just cut that up using my knuckle to guide the sharp edge of that blade. So what's nice about this is that we'll have some pieces of ginger and garlic, but because we've smashed it, we'll also have some really good flavor in there. So we'll put this right into our oil. That'll start sizzling. And to that, we'll add some ground meat. Now traditionally, it's ground pork. Pork is probably the most common protein in China. And I think it's like number 2 in the world. But what we're going to use today is we have some ground turkey. So we'll just put that right in. And we'll just mix that right in. It smells great. There we go. So mix that right in. So that ginger and garlic is going to cook right into the meat. There we go. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to flavor this. So this is a Szechuan dish, so it's going to be spicy. And we're going to make a sauce for it. There we go. I'll just turn this up a little bit. All right. So that's almost browned up. Because it's ground, it'll cook pretty quickly. What's nice about this is that you can use meat ground up that could dry out, because we're going to put a lot of sauce in this. So lamb would be really good, because lamb can dry out if you cook it too much. Chicken, this works well with chicken. So let's We're going to put in some Szechuan peppercorn. The thing to remember is that Szechuan peppercorns are not actually peppercorns. They are a type of husk. And they're not spicy. It's about a tablespoon, no, teaspoon. A tablespoon would be pretty interesting. But they actually aren't hot. What they do is they numb your tongue and your mouth. And they have a citrusy flavor. So we'll put those in. We'll let that cook. So now we're going to add some heat. This is crushed red pepper. We'll put in about a teaspoon of that. And that obviously will be hot. And just to know, when you're cooking with hot peppers, it's good to always add something else with them. Otherwise, if they smoke, if you get them too hot and they smoke, the smoke is actually dangerous. It weaponizes the capsaicin, the part that makes it spicy, and it can be pretty irritating for breathing. There we go. So we've got some heat there. So what I'm going to put in next is a little bit of pepper. So we've got a couple different types of heat here. The red pepper will be a hot, spicy heat. The white pepper that I just put in will be more of a pungent. And we're going to put in a little nutty flavor, and this is hot sesame oil. Now if you want to tone it down, you can use just regular toasted sesame oil, but we're going to be official here, and we're going to put in about a teaspoon of hot sesame oil. So this is well cooked up now. Smells great. So we're going to make some sauce here. So I'm going to put in a little bit of ketchup. This is a little bit different. This is spicy ketchup, but you can just use regular ketchup. Or if you don't want to use ketchup, you can certainly use tomato sauce or tomato paste. But I'm just going to squirt there. We'll mix that in. So we don't have to worry about the meat being undercooked at this point, whether it's pork or chicken or turkey, beef, lamb, it's done. There we go. So what we'll put in now is we're going to put in some chicken broth, and I'm going to use Better Than Bouillon, which is my go-to broth. What's great about Better Than Bouillon is it doesn't have any MSG and not a lot of chemicals in it. And if you have, your favorite broth that you make, but boiling the chicken bones or beef bones or pork bones, certainly use that as well. And then we're going to add a tablespoon of cornstarch to thicken this up, and we'll mix that right in. And we didn't have to make a roux with this because the meat will break up any lumps that might occur, and you'll see that that will start to thicken up. So the last flavoring that we're going to put in is this spicy black bean sauce. We'll put in a couple of tablespoons of that. And this is really aromatic. It's made from fermented soybeans and garlic and spices. Lee Kum Kee is one of the largest food companies in the world, based in China. So that's thickened right up. So that's what we want. So I'm going to be adding tofu. Yeah, it's MaPo Tofu, but I'm going to add the tofu at the end because we don't really stir fry that. What we're going to basically do is just to let that soak a little bit, just for a couple minutes, in this very hot and pungent sauce. And the type of tofu that we're going to use is called Silken Tofu. And it's a very smooth tofu made by putting the tofu through another filter or sieve. So it's very, very smooth, almost the consistency of scrambled egg, actually. So just put that in there. And we'll fit one more in there. There we go. All right. So what I'll do is I'm going to put in a little bit of scallion for flavoring while the tofu is kind of marinating is what it's doing in there, but it's cooking while it's marinating. And this is a really spicy sauce, and so the tofu is kind of a nice foil because tofu is very neutral. So what I'll do now is I'm going to just kind of sink that tofu into this sauce. Trying not to break it up. If you want, you can use regular soft or firm tofu, which is fine as well. There we go. So when it comes time to serve this, I'll serve it over rice. And I'm just going to sprinkle this right over the tofu.
Someone wants to know if you have to cook tofu.
You don't have to cook tofu. Some people, what they'll do is you could, if you wanted to, you could fry this in advance and you could put it in fried, but I prefer it the soft style. So I can turn this right down. Think of tofu as a vegetarian cheese. It's made the same way that you make cheese, where you have a soy milk and you curdle it and put it through a cheesecloth to separate the curds and whey, and the curds become the cheese, and you basically put it into a mold and you can press it or you can age it just like you would with cheese. The kind of tofu that we have in the United States in most grocery stores would be probably the equivalent to mozzarella, where it's not aged at all. So here we go. We're going to kind of scoop, and we're going to get our MaPo Tofu with a very spicy sauce. Just like that. That cornstarch kind of thickened it right up. And then, if you're not used to chopsticks, there's no reason why you can't eat this with a fork. But I should be able to do this. So it's going to be hot in temperature and in flavor. So this is our tofu. We've got some rice. Yum. Just like Grandma used to make. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.